Tying up another wet fly from Ray Bergman's book, Trout. This is the Imbrie. Pretty simple, straightforward wet fly, similar to many others with a floss body, gray wings, and a brown collared hackle. But this one has a little butt of chenille on the back of it. There's no tip or rib on it. And I haven't done that many of them that have just a little butt of material in the rear portion. I thought it would be an interesting fly to do today. That's the Imbrie. I'll get started tying. I'm going to start the Imbrie with my hook on the vise. This is a Mustad 3399 in a size 6 standard wet fly hook. I'm going to debarb that hook. I'm going to attach my thread. Because it has an orange floss body, I'm going to start out with a white thread. This is a Danville 70 denier in white. You don't want to darken up that floss body with a black thread underneath it. I'm going to attach my thread about an eye length behind the eye of the hook. There is no tag or tip on this, as well as there is no rib. There is the floss body, and at the rear of the floss body is a small butt of black chenille. I'm using this is a Rayon chenille in a size small, black. I'm going to strip away the fluff on that and tie that in, advancing my hook back towards the end of the body, down just a little bit down the bend there. Take my hackle pliers. This Rayon chenille, if you've never used it before, sometimes gets kind of flattened out. So I like to give it a nice twist when I tie this in. I'm going to go ahead and flip this over so I can more easily get around that hook point. I'm going to put 3 wraps in. See, there's one that just barely covers the back. I'm going to go right on top of that one. Then the next one's just going to go right in front. Unwrap my thread just a little bit. Now I can secure that chenille in. You're putting in on the back ends, just a little butt of chenille or material. Usually it's just very, very small. I'm going to trim that nice and close. I'm going to wrap down some of that fluff to try and smooth that out a little bit for the floss. For the floss body, I'm using a Danville 4-strand Rayon in a yellow. And bring this up under the thread, pulling this back so that the end of that is back in the body space. I want to wrap rearward right up against that chenille because I want that first wrap of floss to be just right up against that chenille. Put a little wax on my thread, and I'm going to advance my thread forward, collecting all of this material down to the hook shank for a nice smooth underbody, stopping right at the end of the body, the rear of the head, to tie that in. I want to make certain that your first wrap is covering up any thread wrap, and all you have there is just that chenille. Secure that in at the end of the body. advance my thread forward just a little bit behind the eye there, and I'm going to attach my black thread. This is a Danville 70 denier in black. This is what will finish the fly off. I have a wing that goes in that is a slate colored duck or goose quill. I'm using some goose on this, a little bit larger hook size. If I was, say, size 8 or size 10, I would be using some duck because it's a little easier to work with and fits a smaller size. But this size hook, I find that the goose works a lot better. Wrapping rearward to the back space of the head, that's where I'm going to do my wing. I've got some goose quill already cut here. I'm going to get my left and right, match those up. I want to get the tips matched up first. Once I have those matched up, I can see on the width on the one on my side is wider. That's fine. We'll just take our bodkin, poke it in here, and call out 3 or 4 of those so that now my wing is the same width on both sides. I'm going to measure that so the tip goes just a little bit beyond the bend of the hook. And with a pinch and loop, I'll secure that wing in. We'll take a look at that. There you go. Trim away the excess. A little wax on my thread. I'm going to advance my thread down to the eye of the hook here. That's going to let me wrap rearward, collecting and covering up those butt ends a little bit, making a little bit of a smooth platform for a hackle that we're going to collar in. I'm using some brown hen hackle right here. It's a hen saddle, I should say. These are kind of long feathers. They're really nice. They have different lengths, so depending on the hook size, I could use these barbs. For this one, I'm going to use about the middle, or I could just get a couple wraps right down near the end for something a little bit smaller. And that's all I'm going to put in here is just a couple, maybe 3, but probably about 2, 2.5 wraps. So I isolate the tip and I tie that in, securing that in, getting my thread down towards the eye of the hook. Take my hackle pliers, stroking those barbs rearward. I'll get 1 wrap in here. And then a second wrap in. And then I'll bring it almost to a 3rd wrap right here behind the eye. Catching in the rachis of that, I'm going to sweep these back. Start forming the head as I tie backwards. I should say wrap the thread rearward. That's going to trap in the rachis, smooth all that off. I can then break that off. I'm going to counterspin my bobbin so I can flatten the thread out. Put in my whip finish. Trim away my thread. One little straggler right there. Now I'm going to put some head cement on this. This is a fly-tight head cement. It's a thin alcohol-based head cement that will soak down in there and secure all the thread wraps and everything underneath. In a little bit I'll come back and I will put 2 coats of a clear lacquer on there, and then a 4th coat. If you count this as the first of the finishing coats, the 4th will be a coat of black lacquer, and then our Imbrie will be completed. Fun little fly as wet flies go. Not many of them have little butts on the back of them, but a lot of the same techniques I've done in some of the other flies from Ray Bergman's book, but always fun to be tying up some wet flies. Thanks for watching today. Thank you for joining me at the Vise today. I hope you learned a new pattern, at least a tip or trick here and there. If you'd like to help Dress Irons, you can like, comment, share, subscribe, all those wonderful things for the video. You can also head out to dressedirons.com where you can buy flies, tools, stickers, and merch, or you can join a growing community over on Locals at the Dressed Irons Fly Tying Guild. You can also donate to Dressed Irons if you want through the link at the bottom of the description. I thank everybody for their ongoing support, as it really does help the creation of these videos. But what's important is to remember, only fly tying. If you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong.